let's talk about the most troublesome possible thing. So that would be women. So it's very frequently the case for me that if I say anything about how young women might conduct themselves so that their lives would turn out less than dreadfully, let's say, that's when I get the most caustic and like vicious YouTube comments.
Is that real? No.
Absolutely.
It's the opposite for me.
Well, let's delve into that. Well, you're a female talking to females, and so that has something, because the comments that come my way are often variants of something like, what's this old white guy doing telling us what to do with our bodies? It's like...
Well, I meant more in that when I talk about both genders, obviously, but when I talk about men and what I think they could do, that's when I get the most vitriol.
I see. Okay. Yeah. So there's probably just a cross-sex thing going here.
I'm sure there.
Okay, so you're 23. You're married.
22.
22, sorry. Yeah. Oh, I don't know why I thought you were 23. Now I'm making you older than you are. 22, you're married.
Yes.
You have a well-developed career.
Yes.
Okay, and I presume you're relatively pleased about both those things.
Very pleased.
Do you have plans for a family?
Yes.
How soon?
I would love it as soon as possible.
So guys, before they go deep into the conversation, because I watched part of this conversation and it was so eye-opening, right? But the first thing that Jordan Peterson admitted was the fact that anytime he says anything that criticizes the way maybe young women live their lives, he gets attacked, and rightly so, right? Because we live in the age and era of do what you want, and no matter how it looks in the public, people don't want to be told what to do, right? And then she also says, she talks about both men and women, but in her case, the men attack her every time she talks about men, which I think, which goes to show such a big divide currently in the society we live in. Like, anytime you criticize whichever side, you get attacked. Like, I don't mind like a woman saying factual things about men, right? That's okay, but I think we live in such a obviously very sensitive social media era. Everything is sensitive. You can be attacked for saying anything, even if it's true. So you have to watch out what you say.
How are you going to manage it?
It's been a lot of what we've been working through right now. My mom is going to move to be near us.
Yeah.
Which could not be more grateful for. And my husband truly turned his life upside down, turned his career upside down to make sure that he could be flexible for our family, so that he could balance when I am traveling or when he's traveling for work, then I can be at home. But he is running his own business now, which I think he had always wanted to do. And then when we started dating and got really serious, I think he realized, like, this is something I want to do for our family. I think it pushed him in that direction.
Okay, so why did you decide to get married so young? I guess it's not, by historical standards, it's not necessarily
in
that
current
young.
standards.
How old is your husband?
He is 30.
Okay. So, all right. So you married someone who was, so the optimal gap between men and women for age cross-culturally is something approximating 4 years, right? So women prefer men who are older.
Yes.
This is something to keep in mind when you're looking at, I think, when you're looking at the political opinions of men and women, young men and women. I don't think the right groups to compare.
Yeah, like you see what Jordan Peterson just said, that it's okay for the women to look for a man who's older. In this day and age, some people call that predatory. That in this case, she's 22, her husband is 30. Though some people would literally call him a predator, saying he's taking advantage of her, he wants to control her. That's why he didn't choose a woman who's 30 years old just like him, right? That's the age we live in right now. And I'm sure she gets that in her comment section, right, on her platform. Like, some people see that eight-year difference between her and the husband as predatory. They think the husband is a predator for wanting or marrying a young woman like her. They want him to marry a woman who's either 30 or even older than him, right? And that's that's this is the life right now.
Are men and women of the same age.
It's
I think the
interesting.
right
Okay.
groups to compare are women who are 4 years younger than men and see where they're headed, right? Because, well, for the reasons I just laid out, the peers of young men aren't women their same age or older. Their peers are 4 years younger.
I completely.
And so my suspicions, and you're talking to, because you're on YouTube, you're talking to a lot of young men, but I think, first of all, where the men go, the women will follow. I think that's how things
Yes.
work fundamentally.
And I completely agree with that gap. And then I think
Yeah.
ours made sense, being a little bigger because I, owned a home. I'm, already had graduated college. I had a
Right,
successful,
right.
stable career. And so in terms of
Right.
our stages of life, we were completely compatible and on the same page, as well as our values and where we were emotionally and the things that we wanted in the timeline that we want. But I chose to get married because I believe that it is the best foundation that I could have given my life. I think
Why
faith
do you
as
think
well.
that? Why not?
because-
Why not single, free, sex in the city girl? No, I'm dead serious. Why not that? I mean, you had the opportunity, right?
Yeah. It sounds just awful.
Why?
It sounds lonely because I crave companionship.
Why not one person after another then?
What's the meaning in that? It doesn't, and that's not
Diversity.
filling. I have no desire for it.
And that's that because we live in the era of date one person. Actually, I just actually reacted to a video where a single mom of 5, she said she dated 30 men in the same month, and she's telling women to do the same thing, to date multiple men at the same time until they figure out who they want to choose from the 30 men. I mean, you're going to be confused by the time you're done dating 10 men to figure out who's the best, because no one is ever going to have everything. Someone is going to have something the next man doesn't have, right? But she just said she didn't prefer to live her life and sleep around and date multiple men. But obviously, I'm sure, now I haven't checked her, I haven't looked at the comments in this video or her platform, but just by exactly what she just said, other women are going to attack her on that, because the women who want to live their life and be with different men don't care. They see this as oppression. The fact that she just said there's no meaning in sleeping around and moving from man to man or getting even married, I'm sure she's going to get attacked for this. Or if she wasn't already attacked. But that's the era we live in right now.
I wanted to get married because
Do you think that there are women who have a desire for that?
I'm sure.
Well, are you? I'm not so sure.
Well,
I'm not so sure.
I think
You
that they
know?
tell themselves
Yes,
that they do,
but-
but I don't think that intrinsically we're not wired for that. I mean, if you go back to, I was talking about this on my show recently, if we think of anthropologically, biologically, men are designed to be able to sow the seeds, to be able to go around, they can have as many children with as many women as possible. Women, it takes 9 months to grow a baby. We have one egg every month. And it's like we protect that. And I think just from that very primal point of view, we are intrinsically designed to seek out one protector that can often.
I should offer a correction to that characterization of men. I think that's more radically true of immature men than it is radically true of immature women. And I think the reason for that is the reason you just outlined, which is because women pay a way higher price for
Yes.
sex, that even if they're immature, they're not going to be tilted as far in the direction of short-term mating strategy, let's say. I don't think that's intrinsic to the male nature. I really don't. I think it's intrinsic to the immature male nature. And here's part of the reason I think that. So I studied antisocial criminal behavior for a long time, like 15 years, a long time, especially in terms of its development across the lifespan. And so one of the correlates of delinquent, antisocial, and then criminal behavior for men is multiple early short-term sexual partners, right? So it's associated specifically with the criminal bent. Okay,
Interesting.
well, but there's more to it too. So imagine that there are some men who are tilted more towards long-term relationships and stable responsibility, let's say, that goes along with that. And there are some men who are tilted more towards love them and leave them, short term, excitement, oat sowing, hedonism. Okay. Well, we know the personality characteristics. So the personality characteristics of the men who preferentially prefer one night stands, they're dark tetrad types. They're narcissistic. It's all about them, even though they haven't done anything to deserve it. They're psychopathic, so that makes them predatory parasites. They're Machiavellian. They use their language and their actions to manipulate for short-term benefit, and they tilt towards sadism. And so I think all things considered, as I said, immature men and immature women, they tilt towards hedonic, immediate gratification. It's a hallmark of immaturity. And so there will be more short-term maters among men because women are punished brutally for their sexual misbehavior. But thinking that that's an intrinsic part of masculinity, that's a mistake.
So he literally, in my understanding, he literally just said that the whole thing of men are meant to spread their seed and women are not because they get pregnant. I think he said it's not true. It's not, at least according to him, that it's not biologically true. He said it's more of the maturity of the man, and also because obviously women pay the price. If they're going to sleep around, probably if you get a baby, you won't be able to sleep around for the next 9 months, right? Because you have to raise the baby, right? You're pregnant, right? But I think he's saying that men sleeping around is more of a nature, more than nature kind of thing, whereby the men who sleep around, it's mostly because of their surroundings, or how they feel, and how, because he gave an example of how he studied criminals, right? And obviously there's a nature part of it for somebody to become a criminal. So I think it's more of, to him, like, it's more of the environment that shapes men to want to have to sleep with many women, rather than more of nature thing. But he's also saying it's true for the women. It's just that the women pay a bigger price because they get pregnant. All right. So what do you guys think? I kind of completed the video, but it was very interesting from how they moved from the fact that, they both get attacked by both men and women, which every time they criticize the opposite gender, and also the fact that she prefers marriage and wanting a family rather than sleeping around like other people. But also they moved into the fact that, Jordan Peterson doesn't agree that it's natural for a man to sleep around. He says both men and women can sleep around. It's just that the women have to pay a price of getting pregnant, but also it's because of their environment that shapes them to make them want to sleep around. What do you guys think? Comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe, support your boy. Peace.